literally climbed up the ladder to become like an executive, and then the whole burnout scene happened after that, and that's when
Yeah.
I stuck to what I loved. It wasn't enough money to where it would cover my annual salary, but something in me, I don't know, something in me just told me, hey, this is it,
Mm.
and I jumped ship.
Cool. Hey everyone, how's it going? Today on the KDigitals podcast, you're joining me with DJ Ibarra. I want to ask, do you prefer DJ Ibarra? Is it cool if I call you John? Do you have a preference?
Just call me Ibarra, just straight up Ibarra.
Let's go
That's what
Ibarra.
everyone knows me as.
No worries, no worries. I got Ibarra on my end. Joining me, Ibarra, I know, well, based on your name, right? DJ Ibarra, is how I kind of classify you, right, as a DJ. But
Yeah.
for yourself, right, I like to usually ask the guests, like, what do you define yourself as? Are you a musician and then DJing is like your form of it, or are you an
I,
artist and then,
that's really, really like ironic because, like, with the whole pandemic thing, it's like no one's really DJing any venues,
Mhm,
but um, I mean, I do classify myself still as a DJ. It's what I enjoy doing, overproducing. Uh, and for those who don't know, I do produce records as far as like beats. I produce radio shows.
mhm,
Um, I produce all kinds of like different things, right? Even a little bit dipping into like video production as well. So,
mhm,
but yeah, mostly a DJ. And going back to what I was saying at first, just how everyone's not or DJs aren't DJing any venues right now, at least
mhm,
not in my area. A lot of the guys I know have like migrated to Twitch,
mhm.
and other streaming platforms like Mixcloud as well. So, we're kind of just doing our thing there, man. A little late to the party when it comes to Twitch, but I have
Mhm.
started streaming again. I plan on getting on later on today, so yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that. I did actually see your Twitch channel before. So I'm curious, like, how has that transition been? I mean, obviously, it got kind of forced strikes to COVID, but I guess what's the experience like where you're DJing for a crowd, a venue, and lights, and it's dark versus like your bedroom, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be real honest with it, but it was a tough change for me because
Yeah.
it was just, there's a lot of anxiety and the whole psychology thing because you're not able to really read a room. All you have is a chat
Mm,
room, right? And you're not able to really see faces and you don't know everyone's reactions unless like they're firing emotes or just filling up the chat for you, hyping you
yeah.
up. And I mean, starting off on Twitch, you don't get that. You don't have your
Mm,
initial set of viewers. You got to build that up. I mean, you have your own set following, but a lot of the when I jumped on Twitch, a lot of the people that used to watch me live, they were still on Instagram Live, and a lot of the DJs a lot of my peers, they were still on Instagram Live as well. So a lot of people didn't want to veer away from Instagram Live and download another app,
mm,
create another account, et cetera, right? And it was
mhm,
just a small crowd at first, but now it's a lot different. You'll get, I mean, starting off, you probably get like 20 to 50 viewers, and that's huge already compared to like some of the original gamers that have been on there for a year. Like,
yeah.
I know I've heard of stories where some gamers, will only get what 10 viewers, and that's already pretty solid as far as being an affiliate for Twitch. So,
Mm,
but overall, like the transition was really tough.
mhm,
Just getting, I think it's more so just getting over that psychology, and getting over the anxiety of, man, are they really feeling this track? Um, and should I, play something else? You know what
mhm,
I mean? And I think just being judged off of what they see and going back to yourself.
mhm,
But over time, I've kind of just learned to just play for myself and really vibe with the chat by striking up conversations, responding to
mhm,
them, and just engaging with them. And
mhm,
yeah,
mhm. Is that so, I don't know if it's same. So I don't know how to do any of my DJing, right? So all my questions might seem like rookie questions. But when it
no
comes
worries.
to like you're trying to DJ the music and now you're kind of DJing conversation with Twitch at the same time, is that
Yeah.
something you still kind of do live? Like, do you still talk to people like at your
Yeah.
booth or? Okay.
Well, I mean, back. back when we all used to DJ venues and events, I mean, you'd be on a mic anyway, but it's more so
Mm,
to hype up the crowd and whatnot. If you're partying with your best friend, put your hands up, or something along those lines. But
mhm.
um, I mean, it's nothing too new. I guess the way how different it was before, as far as like just having a conversation with somebody while DJing inside a DJ booth in a club,
Mhm.
was just having a small talk conversation while you're mixing. It's a little different, but now you really got to be engaging on Twitch as far as having that conversation and really trying to strike up interest in what you're saying or
Mhm.
what you're replying with or to from one of your listeners.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to kind of explain, but when you get into it,
Yeah.
it's like it kind of flows in naturally.
Yeah.
It's
Do
more
you
like
think
a
that was?
radio show, live radio show in a way, or a talk
Mm,
show with music.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, so because I know you do, you're on Radio Basement. Is that like kind of a similar experience, or do you still think that they're two different kind of tracks?
So Radio Basement was completely different. So Radio Basement is a syndicated radio show, right? They're based off of Real 92.3 in LA.
Okay.
And they're syndicated, all over the nation. I think right now they're at 8 stations. And I'm saying they because I actually parted ways with Radio Basement in July,
Mm.
early
Oh, wow,
July.
recent.
Actually, no, mid-July, mid-July. So I put in my two
Hmm.
weeks, um, early July, and then I think my last produced show. So the shows get produced like ahead of time, at least the
Hmm.
syndicated ones.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, my last show that I produced was the first weekend of August. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, it was nothing like crazy personal or anything like that. It was more so
Hmm.
on my end. Um,
Hmm.
I what do you call this? I don't think people know this that much because I don't like flare it out there. But
Hmm.
I am a dad. My son's on the spectrum, so
Okay.
autism, and we being that and going through like ABA sessions and whatnot. That's what we had to kind of take care of, and
Hmm.
it was just not. It wasn't intertwining anymore because with my schedule, personal schedule itself, it was just more so like I couldn't grow with the show anymore. And the show was
Mm.
like taken off. Like recently, they acquired another station in Vegas, which was a higher station. It's all
Hmm.
iHeart driven, and yeah, they're doing great things. I'm really glad they are.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. No, of course.
but
And I appreciate that, by the way. So I mean, like, with all obviously like COVID, just like making a lot of little bit of roller coaster in your life, right? Just like that transition.
yeah,
Um, I guess like obviously the family part's there, and that's key. But
yeah,
it seems like you're not stopping DJing in general. Like you're still that's still a ship that's going forward nonetheless, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm gonna be stopping that. Um, it's definitely one of those things that I just have loved to do since I was a kid.
Hmm.
Um, I got exposed to DJing at an early age. Um, I met one of my best friends back in middle school, and
Hmm.
that was the very first time I actually got to learn to DJ, like the whole art in itself, mixing
Hmm.
records, blending records on beat. So it's been with me for a long time, and yeah, I'm not gonna be stopping anytime soon.
Hmm. Hmm. What? So one thing I was always curious about, like, so like I played like guitar, right? And I felt like that
Hmm.
was like it felt very straightforward as an instrument. Like, okay, if I want to get better, I have to learn more like solos or scales, etc. For DJing, how what is progression like? Like, how do you know like, oh, I'm getting better as a DJ? Where like this guy is clearly better than that guy. Like, how does that world work?
Um, so there's I don't know how the whole guitar being a guitarist is, right, but
Hmm.
being a DJ, there's a lot of factors you gotta kind of think of. So,
Hmm.
and it kind of just depends on what your style is. Um, for me, I'm more open format in ways where I can DJ and play hip hop, R&B, house, uh, anything, pop. rock.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've listened to any of my mixes, but you'll find certain theme mixes, but for the most like generalized ones, I'll play everything. I'll even play
Hmm.
country. But I think progression wise, it's more of just like really seeing or hearing yourself be a lot cleaner than you were before. Whether that's mixing in records on tempo and not train wrecking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've heard somebody train wreck before, and it doesn't
Yeah, back
sound
in college.
really well, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like very like, oh my God, it hurts my ears. Like, what did you
Yeah.
just do with that? What did you just do with that transition? Or
Yeah.
they mix in like an acapella where it's just a voice and it's super offbeat, right? So
Hmm.
just kind of like not exactly sounding like a robot where it's like pre-produced,
Hmm.
but really just how do I put this? I guess since we're all human, right? You'll never be perfect at something. You'll make mistakes, but I
Hmm.
think it's how you recover from those mistakes. So if you mix something in
Mm.
a little bit off beat, are you gonna nudge it forward or make it faster just to get back into the beat? And how long can you maintain that beat?
Hmm.
Um, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's just one part of it too. So there's scratching as well. So
Okay.
that was part of hip hop and hip hop DJs in general. And how well can you scratch? That's if you're even in the hip hop world. I don't think a lot of house DJs scratch, but I think some of the DJs that came from the hip hop culture first, like uh, Laid Back Luke, um, and I know Craze, super hip hop DJ, but he does drum and bass.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys, um, they can cut really well. That's like their
Hmm.
niche. But
Hmm.
they have shifted their whole music genre. But yeah, that's I would say those are the things to really look out for when it comes to progression.
Hmm. Definitely. As so when you're like just like listening to a song, right? You're not like working, right? You're just kind of
Mhm.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Do you are you at a point where like when you listen to it, does your brain just like go into analyze mode and like, okay, this is how I'd mix this is how I would do the song to this song here? Like, do you already start getting methodical, or
Yeah.
do you enjoy music
Yeah.
still?
It used to be really actively like I used to be on that mode a lot,
Yeah.
especially with songs that I haven't heard before. Mainly older songs. The new songs, the way I analyze new songs, I always analyze new songs to where is this playable?
Hmm.
Will people enjoy this? Um, and whatnot. But nowadays, when I'm analyzing songs, especially like older songs, it's more so just enjoying the music. Um, but the my analyze mode kind of just jumps and turns on automatically when I notice something, whether it's this record sounds really good with this other song,
Hmm.
and I could probably play with this. And there's like in the DJ world, there's like transitions called wordplay. So a
Okay.
good example of that is like, let's say I'm going from that's a good one. Let's say a Trey Songz record that goes, "Go girl, it's your birthday," and
Okay.
then going into like the 50 Cent record in the club, right? Because
Mm,
it starts
okay.
off as that.
Playing.
Yeah, so
That's
that's what
yeah. Okay.
wordplay is. You're really just kind of like playing with the words and whatnot, and matching them more or completing a sentence, completing the phrase that they say.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it'll my mind will just like automatically turn on. Ooh, that's a good place to mix in this good song that I know of and get a great
Hmm.
reaction out of whoever's listening to it. So,
Mm,
but yeah.
okay. So on, I know I just want to put it end up saying over earlier. Like, so when it comes to like trying producing a show where you already
Mhm.
know you're going to go on Twitch in 3 hours from now, right? Do you know what you're going to play, or is it more like I'm going to sit here, open up my playlist, and just jazz it up in a way?
It depends. It it depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay.
Sometimes, let's say if I get some time, I'll prep something like a crate on my Serato for maybe like 30 songs. just to kind of
Okay.
generalize and go off of, and then I'll
Hmm.
base my next selections based on those. And if it's
Hmm.
going well, great. If it's not going well, then I will just probably go into my main master crate and just play off whatever I feel like playing off of. But that's Twitch,
Mm.
you know.
Okay.
When it comes to like the club, it's more so just freestyling it. The only crate I'll have ready for that is the newer stuff, just for
Hmm.
testing purposes. So having relationships with like record labels, they want you to play these to break the record to people, right? Um,
Oh,
but when you,
okay.
yeah, when you break it to the masses, you can't always just play the record and, unless it's like Drake or Beyonce or, somebody really known, no one's gonna be like, whoa, what's this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta kind of like hype it up on the mic. If it's, I mean, yeah, it just depends on the situation. But yeah, most of the time the club sets are very improvised. And
Okay.
depending on what's happening, I don't going into a club, especially one, let's say that's out of state. I don't know who's who, and getting on at midnight, you don't know what's been happening already. So communication with the opening DJ is definitely key. And that way you can kind of like think of what to play for the rest of the night.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, somebody's it could be somebody's engagement or something completely different from a birthday. But if you have a song in your crate that will make that pop off, like
Yeah.
engagement or a bachelorette party, doing the all single lady song, and they'll go
Mm.
crazy off that. But yeah, I think you know, like I said, communication with the opening DJ is definitely key. Showing up at least 30 minutes early to the gate. Let's say you're booked at midnight, but the club opens at 9, right? And it's been 3 hours, so you don't know what the opening DJ plays. That's where the communication definitely comes into play. But also like how the opening DJ is playing. So the opening DJ is usually there, right? They're the resident. They're the ones
Hmm.
opening up for the headliner. That's somebody from usually out of state or not in the city at least. And really observing how they're playing the records, what records they're playing, etc., and kind of like feeding off that energy itself. Because
Mm.
in a club, when it comes to DJ in a club, like you really give the crowd energy, but the crowd, depending on what you're playing, gives that energy back to you. So
Hmm.
that's it. Kind of, I can't explain it in words, but it's more so like it kind of constructs the way your set can go throughout the night.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
Hmm.
Um, and then that's usually applied to venues that you've never played before. When it comes to like venues in San Francisco or San Jose, you kind of know the room already, and it's Bay Area. You already know a lot of the local records will work.
Hmm.
Bay Area records, whether that's the hyphy stuff, the newer stuff with like the newer E40 or some of the newer guys like Derek King, um,
Hmm.
and whatnot. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the indie rock scene out here. I don't know if there is any. None of no one's ever reached out to me, but
Hmm.
I know a lot of the hip hop scene or the hip hop scene out in the Bay Area is pretty big. There's a lot of smaller artists right now
Hmm.
that have reached out to me, and some of the records sound pretty good, and
Hmm.
not a lot of people know about this, but like if people ever shoot me records, like I'll give them feedback straight up. No
Yeah.
sugarcoating. If it sounds like shit, it sounds like shit. And then
That's
if I
good though.
like
That's
it, I like it. Yeah, I mean that's the only way you get better, right?
yeah.
If you tell
So
somebody that their stuff sounds good and it sounds like shit, they're not gonna change it.
yeah, it's gonna send in the same direction. So then, how does because you mentioned so you brought like the indie rock scene, and you mentioned like there are DJs that do that.
Yeah.
How do you like incorporate like a indie rock song into like a DJ set, like versus like a hip hop song that would I feel would be more.
um, I think it varies on the DJ. Me, um, given a situation, let's say I'm profiling the crowd, right? And
Okay.
given like what I know from that crowd, I don't want to say anything off like too left field, but given what I know from that crowd and how they're reacting to certain songs, I might just stop the music, get on the mic, and then drop it from the one. and it would be like Blink 182's, all the small things or something like that, or you know what I mean, something
Yeah.
crazy, right? But you
Okay.
got to be bold. That's part of DJing too. You got to be really, really bold and take risks like that. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You just got to move on.
Hmm.
But for the most part, like I think over the years, from what I've learned and what I've observed, I've learned to kind of like feel the crowd out, and we'll know, what what generation a crowd is from, based on like what I've played so far. And
Hmm.
you know, uh, most people I know are into hip hop, but growing up, I'm 32, so
Hmm.
around let's say the 2000s, that's when even the Beastie Boys were, still around and whatnot.
Hmm.
A lot of people like, let's say, Limp Bizkit. I'll just drop something crazy like that,
It's
and
that
people
coming.
will know
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then you can go back to songs they grew up with, like my mom. She likes the Bee Gees. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Or Queen, or ABBA. And I'll play Dancing Queen, and all the girls would go crazy off that, and they'll sing the song. It's nuts,
Yeah.
dude. But it just goes into experimentation and experience. I don't think anybody, let's say if you're a dope bedroom DJ, I honestly, technicality wise, if you're not a nervous person and you can go headstrong into a venue, just let's say your first gig, you can go and kill it on a technical aspect and not train wreck and whatnot.
Hmm.
But when it comes to like killing a set where people are remembering these moments,
Mm.
that just comes with experience. I don't think a bedroom DJ will ever kill it like that unless they have the mindset of going off the wall already and just experimenting.
Okay, yeah. So there's a guy named Kenny Beats. He's
Okay?
like a producer right now, and he was saying that so the reason why he got good at producing music is because he DJ'd first. And he's saying
Yeah.
is a
And he
lot of
knows what
people,
works.
yeah. He's saying like there's
Yeah.
like when you're making a song, like there's making a song, a good song, okay, sure, but how are people actually gonna listen to that song? Like, are they actually
Yeah.
gonna and like oh, and that's funny here. Then now you're connecting that dot too. It's like okay,
Yeah, and it definitely helps too. Let's say if you work the radio, you know how the record labels work and how they
hmm,
select songs. I mean, even nowadays too, like record labels can send their song or promote their song to a radio station or a radio
hmm,
station chain like iHeart. Um, and the record could be on the radio for maybe 2 weeks and fall off because there's just no, it's not like the DJs aren't
mm,
feeling it, or the ratings are low or whatnot. You know what I mean? They get
yeah,
calls and get feedback. Man, this song's trash.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying it earlier. So it's like a thing where like you have a partnership with like a label and like, hey man, there's three new songs that came out. We need you to play these for the next like week and a half. Like is that like how that is like a business partnership at that point?
Yeah, it's more of a business partnership, correct.
Okay.
It's more of a business partnership, and usually you'll get those types of connections when you have a platform to play it on.
Hmm.
So radio definitely helped me get those contacts, and I keep in touch with them and whatnot. So I still get the newer songs from like Atlantic, so all the Cardi B songs and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean those are songs that are not to be missed anyway because they're what top on Spotify and Apple Music.
Hmm.
Um, it's very hard to miss those. But the records that come from, let's say, some of the smaller labels, those are the ones that you really want to look out for because as a DJ, not a lot of DJs play those songs,
Hmm.
and it's like a way to stand out. Like,
Hmm.
oh man, he plays this dope record that I've never heard before, and he's the only one I've heard play it. So you'll get that specific demographic to follow you or
Mm,
whatnot. Yeah.
makes sense. So earlier when you were saying like when you get to a venue you want to talk to the DJ before like hey how did everything go? Do you like intentionally say hey play no Big Bang so I can't play Big Bang tonight like
I
or
don't do
not?
that. I just tell the
Okay.
DJ to play whatever he likes playing. And
Okay.
then I just kind of go off of like what he has played already to help me cater my set throughout the night.
Mm,
But I've never been, I mean, I can't lie. I've never done that. I think what was it? I think when God's Plan first came out
okay.
by Drake. I really wanted to play that song because it was just such a big hit.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, "Hey, just save me God's plan and play whatever you want." But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's like that's better than telling the DJ, "Hey, just don't play Big Bank. I want
Yeah.
Big Bank." And then you're giving them like a very like vague message, and versus like if you tell them, "Hey, save me Big Bank and you could play whatever else you want." That
Yeah.
way they get that comfortability and they're not intimidated like, "Oh man, he just gave me a song that he told me not to play. What else can I play then?"
Oh, like it's
You
setting
get
them
what
right
I'm saying?
already. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes
But yeah,
sense.
like I said, I can't lie. I've done that before, but nowadays, like, well, especially before the pandemic, like I would just tell the DJ,
Mhm.
play what you want, man. Do you? It's all
Yeah.
good.
No shit, that's cool. Want to go kind of a somewhat not hard left, but a left for sure. So on your when you go to your website, um,
Hmm.
and we're yeah, I think it's on your website, and you're looking at the three different things you do. Like I think you have like these bubbles. One of
Hmm.
them says like new music, general entertainment, esports stuff, and more.
Hmm.
Um, what's the esports side of things? That was like the
So,
one thing I couldn't find.
I've always kept up with esports more so for like Counter-Strike because back in the day, uh, what year was that? I think it was like 2004 all the way to 2009,
Okay.
or eight actually. Yeah, had to be eight. Anyways, yeah, around that time range, I played like semi-professional Counter-Strike. I was playing at a very high
Okay.
level, 1.6, and yeah, that was my life back then, man. That and producing music. I wasn't even really DJing back then. Not even in the bedroom or anything like that. Like I was just producing beats and playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And I kept up with the scene. Even coming back right now, I know some people that have made it pro, and I still speak with them. And I think what I want to kind of do as far as like especially with the pandemic and whatnot,
Mhm.
um, I want to be able to create a platform around that and get an intern or two to kind of blog about those things. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on around esports right now, especially with like streaming. Um,
Okay.
the whole I don't know if you're familiar with like the whole Doctor Disrespect stuff. Shroud going from not having a contract with Mixer anymore because Mixer, the streaming platform, merged with Facebook and made Facebook Gaming.
Mhm.
So he's back on Twitch though. Shroud. He used to play CS:GO.
Mhm.
Um, who else? Ninja. I don't know. I think so. Doctor Disrespect is on YouTube. I think Ninja went somewhere else. I'm not even sure where. But
I,
I don't keep up with a lot of Fortnite
mhm.
stuff, and that's why, like I said, interns. They keep up with all that all those other games that I don't stream. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Um, just keeping up with the news there, and I stream games too. So you know,
Yeah.
I stream more competitive Counter Strike than anything else. But yeah.
Yeah. So was it like a like season 2008 is when it kind of maybe like went hiatus a bit? Is it like you got to a point where like, man, I play this way too much. I gotta go do something else. Or is it more you just got busy with life?
Um, so around that time, I was at a really bad position health wise. I mean, I was a
Okay.
young kid still. I was probably like 19 or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, but my health was just bad. I don't know. I think I might have it on Instagram. I have this before and after picture. It's crazy. I laugh because like whenever I show people that picture, whenever people see that picture, they have this reaction, and it's just like, yo, I can't believe that shit.
Yeah. You're like, trust me, I know.
I'm sorry for cursing. I don't know if you allow cursing
Oh, you're good,
in
man.
your
Don't worry about it.
podcast, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was in a really bad like position health wise, and I don't know. I can't even think back to what I was thinking back then to just have me just get on it. But I just started running. I got into fitness. I studied fitness. Um, I actually never taken my ACE test, but I actually got the books and everything to do it, and uh, I was I wanted to become a professional, personal trainer, and
Okay.
that never happened either because like I started working in retail, and the whole retail corporate life just took over my life, and
Mhm.
I literally climbed up the ladder um, to become like an executive, and then it just, I think the whole burnout scene happened after that, and that's when
Yeah,
I stuck to what I loved, and I went back to DJing, and that's when the DJing thing took off, and that was around 2015 or something like
yeah.
that, where I started DJing in a bedroom again, and kind of just started networking. And it's weird how it works because my DJ success, or at least how it took off, was, I want to say it was luck. Um,
Mhm.
a buddy of mine from high school, like he was a DJ too, and I forgot what branch of the military he was at, or he was on, but he traveled. Well, he was stationed in Spain, and he made a name for himself out in Spain, and he started DJing in the local scene when he got back here, and I linked up with him, and it was kind of just, the rest was history, man. Everything just happened, kept happening, kept happening. I was just grinding it out
Mhm.
and, networking with different people and landing these gigs.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that insight. So that's kind of cool. So, especially being like in the Bay Area, right?
Hmm.
That corporate run is kind of like what you do, right? Like that's just like what
Yeah.
you don't do anything past that. And the fact that you got like close to like you said the executive level, and then you're like, nah, I know it's not for him to go DJ. Like that bridge from business to art, like I feel like a lot of people think about but don't do.
Yeah.
What gave you that like, yeah, I'm not trying to be an executive right now. I don't want to deal with meetings and politics and etc.
um, well, like I said, it was luck, man, because at the time when I started DJing, in a like bedroom DJ wise, I was still working, and it was to the point where, like I said, it was luck. I was fortunate enough to be offered to demote. So having that
Hmm, okay.
demotion and still being able to keep my pay rate um, was great because it gave me some leeway to practice, to a bunch of background things for myself, so I can improve on that. And then when I got my first gig and then my first residency, I was still working for the company, and it
Oh,
got to the
okay.
point where I started making money. And I mean, don't do this. If you're watching this, don't do this. But it wasn't enough money to where it would cover my annual salary. But something in me, I don't know, something in me just told me, hey, this is it.
Hmm.
And I jumped ship. And then from there, I think, yeah, I started DJing full time. I had gigs every weekend, which transitioned into, over time, it transitioned into three to 3 to 5 gigs a week, depending,
Hmm.
on how busy it was.
Hmm.
And yeah, I made good money off DJing. And I was happy with my decision.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's how I made the leap, man. I think if I were to tell anyone to give anyone advice to taking the leap, just make sure it's secure, at least more secure than mine. Mine was
Hmm.
very, spontaneous. It was just
Hmm.
off my gut, and I think just my love for DJing kind of just took over and just told me to, jump off. And I mean, it worked out, but it won't work out for everybody else.
Looking
So
back
just
at
make
it,
sure you're
yeah.
secure first. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting. So obviously, like you said, you were DJing for like years during the kind of the Counter Strike era, and then you went into your corporate side. You're still doing it. When you started to get, one gig ish, and then 2 gigs, and then 3 to 5 a week, and all that, and became like more of a job and a process. Did you ever get to a point where you're like, God damn, like I don't like DJing anymore? Like low key, it's kind of turning into something that's no longer a passion anymore. Now
Um,
it's just like my day to day.
when in let's just say it never felt like a job up until recently.
Okay.
So my DJ gigs, they never really felt like a job. It was something. I mean, I would always download and prep music every day anyway, and
Hmm.
then going to the gigs. Gigs are like what, a couple hours long,
Hmm.
and at that, if that, sometimes an hour. So no, it didn't feel like a job back then. I want to say it did feel like a job recently because it was something that I had to elevate for myself. And
Mm,
that's not a bad thing, you know. Like anyone, I mean, I'm sure someone's told you this before. Like you need that hardship to be able to evolve and change. You know what I mean?
mm,
So without going through that struggle, I don't think you can level up.
mm,
And with my current situation, like I said, it felt like a job, but at the same time, like I needed it. The only reason why I'm not with like a, an actual DJ platform besides Twitch
mm.
is because of my life schedule. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you mentioned that. Okay,
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, this sounds like still like an exciting journey nonetheless. Like you went through like that again, that rise to a fall, and then you're rising, and now COVID happens. So kind of not a fall, but a transition, which is
yeah,
again the
yeah.
fun
It's
roller
definitely
coaster.
a yeah. You just got to find different ways to elevate your brand and you know um, use that to your advantage.
Mhm. Very cool. Well, hey, I know we're nearing time. Wanted to ask one last question.
Yeah,
Um, Being kind of a veteran now in kind of life, right? And like I mean that in a very way. Like, in your story really has been just a lot of like roller coaster, but that keeps going up roller coaster in a good way.
yeah.
After kind of going through all that, aside from the part you mentioned, like if you're going to take that leap, be more secure.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to another DJ that you kind of wish someone that you knew a little bit earlier on, even though you probably have the scar tissue for it now?
Um, if you are going to pursue anything in art and anything that's done by contract is paid out as a whole, right? And you have to do a W-9 for it. Um, and you have to like make sure you do the math to make sure you pay your taxes on that income. If I were to tell anybody, just make sure you have an accountant or something or somebody that you know is good with numbers and get help with that because my first year of getting paid as a DJ and not knowing the exact numbers for taxes, oh my God, that was tough.
Yeah, that, that
Yeah,
sounds. Oh
that's
wait, yeah.
yeah. It's not like working a 9 to 5 where you submit a W-4, they give you a W-2, and that's automatically calculated, and you'll get a tax refund, right? But being a contractor or being like a company else, LLC, whatever you want to go under, you have to file business taxes and like depending on if you didn't know you could write certain things off, you might be paying way more than you should, etc. Just before you take that leap into doing so, um, do your research on it, create like an entity for yourself or an entity in general, so
Mhm.
your taxes are separate and your personal tax filings are completely different and you're not affected in a huge way as far as having to pay thousands in taxes.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Man, low key,
that's one thing.
yeah. Huh,
Yeah, that's
that's something
yeah,
I
that's
thought
like the
about.
number one thing. It's
Yeah,
huge. It's
that's.
like never really talked about. That's why,
Mhm.
when you ask older DJs or DJs that you look up to, what's one piece of advice you can give me? They're gonna be like, just network, practice and network.
Mhm.
Like, okay, cool. You go out like twice a week, you shake hands, kiss babies, even though babies aren't there. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
network with people and get to know people. And that's great. But once you get in deep into it and start making a substantial amount of money, you're gonna have to take care of that back end and make sure
Mhm.
your numbers are good, your books are good, and if you don't,
That's
that's
it.
you're not gonna wanna go through that. So I think that was probably the worst part of the whole process was finding that out, not knowing what to do with that,
Mhm.
and being kind of stuck with it, and kind of trying to work it out from there. But
Yeah.
if you could put yourself in a situation where you're not even in that situation at all by doing your research, like I said, and you know talk to an accountant, give them a percentage of how much you make, and you should only be doing this when you're making a substantial amount of money. When you're in it full time. if you're in it part time and you're making money from another income source, you're fine. Because even if you do owe taxes, like you can pay those taxes off because you have another source of income, right?
Hmm.
But when you have that source of income coming from that one source, it's tougher. So
Hmm.
just do your research and definitely ask a lot of questions. Ask different questions and ask specific questions to whoever you look up to. And yeah.
Mm. Damn, did not see that coming. I was like, yeah, man, just keep at it, stay focused, stay persistent. It's like, no, take care of your taxes. Like,
I
oh,
mean,
that's a
anybody
reality
could do
check.
that. Anybody can do that. Like I said, everyone talks
Yeah.
about that, and you see quotes and memes about certain things,
Uh-huh.
staying focused, grinding it out. Everyone knows that, but no
Hmm.
one talks about the back end.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't, I don't.
that's a reality check of it.
Yeah, it's just if I could save somebody at a time of doing that, trust they'll thank me in the long run.
You'll just give them a lot of money. For
That too.
sure. All right, Ibarra. I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate taking the time to chat with me. I'm glad we're able to link up.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Thank you.
where can people find you? I know we talked about Twitch, I know we talked about Instagram. Are there handles tied to that? Is there anywhere else you're on?
You can find everything at djbar.com. Like my Twitch is on there, top of the page. My Instagram, my mixes, my Twitter, everything is on there. So djbar.com, DJIBARRA.com.
Cool. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Have a good one.
Thanks, bud. Bye.